Hey, you want to see something really scary?
What's your favorite scary movie?
I'm gonna scare the hell out of you.
What was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk here.
What's blood for, if not for shedding?
Welcome to Fright Night.
Welcome back to Jump Scare. I'm Betty.
And I'm Chad.
Happy holidays, everyone. It's Christmas Eve today. And we had the honor of receiving a screener for Bloody Axe Wound. Please.
You wanted to see me?
I don't want to see that wolf in any more films. Got it?
Got it.
In my town of Clover Falls, real-life massacres have been put on tape and packaged for decades. While some dads fix toilets, my dad terminates teens.
Sears needs new legs. We're barely staying afloat month to month.
Why not me?
Because you're a girl.
What?
Sorry, woman. Ma, I mean no disrespect, but she's got to hear this.
We both know I can hack it better than any ding-dong out there.
I've heard high school is a target-rich environment.
Are you a narc?
I know narc. I mean, I'm not a narc. I wouldn't narc.
Were you one of those goody-goodies at your old school?
Not exactly.
Love to hear how everything's come together.
They're not all that bad.
There's just been so much death at this school, but I'm glad you're here.
Offing Sam just doesn't feel right.
You can't let your emotions cloud your judgment.
What's wrong with a little change?
This isn't up for debate. Sam dies. Kill her. Kill her. Finish the job, or I will.
Oh, he is so pissed.
Who are you?
This film comes out later on this week.
Yeah, it'll be out on the Friday, the 27th.
And it stars recognizable individuals.
One of the first people you're going to see on screen is going to be Jeffrey Dean Morgan. You're going to recognize him as the comedian from The Watchmen, as the dad from Supernatural. Oh, and yeah, he was on The Walking Dead as Negan too.
He did do that.
He did, yeah, he was there.
People do know him from that.
Yeah. You're also going to recognize Billy Burke. He's going to be playing Roger Bladecut. And he's been in, what are those movies about the sparkly vampires? Oh, Twilight.
Twilight? Okay.
Yeah, he was in those.
He was in that.
He was also in a lot of TV shows and supporting roles, including like a 3-year arc on that show, The Closer.
Oh, yes. That was a fan favorite.
Yes.
Of her mom's.
Yeah.
And then we have newcomers Sarah Arambulo and Molly Brown.
Yeah, and then one of your favorite characters in the movie, you've got Eddie Levy.
Yes. Who is in that AP biology show? And I never seen that show, but I get he's definitely on it. And people love that show, and they were like,
and so is the Molly Brown is also in that one.
Oh yes, they would recognize him from there.
Yeah, and that show was on it was kind of one of those ones that went away for a little while, then came back, like on Hulu or a different service. It popped up. I saw a couple of episodes of it, and it was pretty good. It reminded me of a more bitter version of Head of the Class.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Okay. So, Bloody Axe Wound. This movie takes place in a town where there are Friday the 13th style murders on a regular basis. And so much so to the point that at one point the people are in a little diner and they're like, oh, this is the wall of the memorial wall to the people that have passed. This is just from last year. And the wall of pictures goes like, it's halfway up the wall and all the way to the ceiling of just the pictures of all the people that have died. There's like 60 people here easily.
Yeah, you never see the top of the ceiling. The pictures just keep escalating. There's no like end to it. It just seems endless the way that they shot it. Which is like, oh, how are there any teens left in this?
Yeah, which is it was just funny because you wonder about that kind of thing with the Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and, you know, Halloween and all that. There's so many people killed in the town. First of all, why does anyone stay in the town? Get the hell out.
Tax cuts.
I guess so, yeah. They get a hell of a tax break when you live in Springwood.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
And I have to say, there's a scene in this where they go to a summer camp, and I love the name of the summer camp was Camp Chillwood, but it became known as Camp Killgood. That was a nice little touch. I enjoyed that.
Oh, man, this movie. So, this...
Go ahead. So our main characters is going to be the dad, Roger Bladecut, and his daughter, Abbie. And they are slashers. He is it's not quite a hockey mask, but you get the idea.
So the mask is reminiscent to Leslie Vernon's mask.
Yeah, so it's a little bit Leslie Vernon, a little bit like a wooden hockey mask.
Yeah, so I don't know if it was like that was a choice to pay homage to both of those films or just to the slasher, because obviously this is a slasher. In this town of like Clover Falls, it's just an everyday occurrence. Like, teens are always getting murdered, and these killers are filming these murders, and they're selling them. Someone is filming them.
This is a point you're really not clear on in the movie, is who's actually filming these movies. Or is this kind of like a fourth wall breaking thing where this is what the killers are doing when you're not seeing them in the movie? It's a little hard to tell what's going on.
That's, I would say, the main issue of one of them in the film.
Yeah. But she wants to be the next slasher. She wants to take over. She wants to take over for her dad, who, like I said, he's got wounds all over him. He's got his face is all cut up. He's got stab wounds all over his body where he's been hurt. And
yeah, he looks more, obviously, like you said, of a Jason, because he has a lot of Jason-esque elements than compared to other slashers. But he doesn't even look human. Like, how is this person, how do the cops not come to this person's house and been like, you the killer? Yeah. We saw you and we say that you are the killer.
I also, now this is in the trailer, so it's not really spoiling a lot, but I love when they sat down to dinner with Grandma, and she's just looks like the freaking, taxidermied body of Mother from Psycho. Yes. She's just sitting at the table. They're like, hey, don't use that kind of language in front of... I don't remember if he said Grandma or Mother, but whatever. Don't use that kind of language in front of her. And she's just like, oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I think for sure he said Grandma.
And that cracked me up because they all just pay no mind to that. She's just sitting at the table. They got a little plate out for her and everything.
Yeah, it's one of those where they want you to believe that this is a world that people are living in, but yet you would think that it was completely everyone's accepted in this area, that this is a thing, and the cops, there's no intervening cop investigation. There's none of that. This is fine. This is the norm. They don't have no idea who's killing, all of these teenagers in all these areas, because it's multi killers out there in this area, because you got at the beginning you have Butch Slater is the killer, that's the Negan character, or the Negan person.
Yeah, Jeffrey Dean
Morgan, yeah. So he's doing that in then you see him his style, which I have to say that I just love the look of it. The diner, the 1950s, the all white with the black tie. Yeah, it's classic.
He looks a little like an ice cream man or something.
Yes, he's
got a little bit of the whole Reggie and Clint Howard ice cream man going on there. And he's just, what would they call it, like the Greasy Spoon Massacre or something like that was the one that the movie he ends up being in.
Yeah, the names of the films are clever as hell.
Yeah.
The time frame that this is taking place is very ambiguous. It's kind of like it follows it's just all time. It's in every decade. It's not one specific one.
It's got to be at least, I would say it's not set in modern day because no one is using cell phones. They're using very old cell phone technology when they do.
Yeah.
It's literally one of these shoulder bag cell phones that you carry.
Yeah.
And they're using cassettes a lot of mixtapes.
They are, but then they have posters for bands and then movies that didn't exist until one of them, there's a movie they show that's for rent, which is Charlotte Gray, came out in 2001. So, and then their bands also, early 2000 bands. So it's just okay, it has to be maybe 2005 and under. But it's definitely hit the 2000s, and that's where I'm I don't know. But you know what? Small town. So even if it could be 2004,
maybe the cell technology is not there, or maybe they're...
Exactly.
You wouldn't have had smartphones at this point.
Definitely not.
It'd just been flip phones for everybody. But maybe they're using the old-time tech to not be traced or something. Who knows?
Yeah, we never know. But that's why I said it. You don't really know pinpoint exactly. I don't really have an issue per se with the movie, with that aspect of it. I think probably the biggest thing is definitely who's taping this?
Yeah.
Who's taping this? And if someone is taping this, then wouldn't the cops have an easy trace? Because then you start thinking about it too much. And it's just don't think about it. Don't think about anything. This is just happening. And that's it. You're here along for the ride. I do like the aspect that it's, a father-daughter. I do also the fact that they didn't make that's his biological kid.
Yeah.
That's a kid he adopted or whoever he attained the child. He doesn't really get into it. It's just you just came into my life. I adopted you kind of thing. So I do like that aspect because it would be really morbid if that was his own kid, which sounds weird because it's that's still your kid. But if it was biological, it was ugh, that's kind of icky. So it's not too serious. It doesn't take itself too seriously.
Well, then if it's his own kid, then you got to explain where the mom is and all that.
Yeah,
this way with him adopting, he can just say, "Oh, I adopted you."
Yeah,
and that's that. You don't need to. Yeah, you don't have to explain what happened to mom or all that. It doesn't mean another character doesn't need to be involved.
There are, the small amount of characters that you show in the film. They all have great personalities. There's character development for most of them. You're oh, whatever. Do you care about them when and if they die? No, but I feel like in a slasher though,
you get as much development in this movie for the characters as you would for any slasher movie from the 80s and 90s.
Exactly.
Maybe a little more, to be honest.
Yes, I would say just a little bit more. Just enough where it's not too much, but you're okay, this is a person, this is just not a bag of meat that we're just, taking out. Yeah, just to have someone to die. The relationship between, the father-daughter is... that's totally there. You're okay, it's that normal-esque, sometimes.
She wants to be a little rebellious.
Yes.
She wants to go out there and get into the family business sooner than he wants her to.
And even though he's a killer, he's no, were you drink? He asked her, did you drink tonight? Are you drunk?
Are you high?
Yeah.
What's going on? And then when he says something, he's no, you can't do this because you're a girl.
Oh, yeah, she can't be the killer.
Yeah, he's it's just not... He goes, what? Someone's going to believe you, a 110-pound girl, is going to be the murderer? That's not realistic.
Yeah, he said 100 pounds when soaking wet is exactly what he says. So you're oh, but
that was the attitude of those old movies too, because there was no real, except for Mrs. Voorhees in the beginning of Friday the 13th. She was really the only one that was doing anything in those movies in the 80s.
And she was a badass.
Yeah, she was.
So...
Exception of also Sleepaway Camp.
Well, okay. Yes.
But then again, most of her kills were by surprise. So
they were by surprise, and they were other kids. Yeah. It wasn't like she was killing off like a.
Well,
I mean, she
except
did
for
take
the guy
some.
in the pot, but he had that.
That
coming.
mofo had that coming. Okay, like I feel like he got off easy.
Yeah.
It could have been much worse for him. She could have, you know.
She probably should have.
But is there a favorite like kill scene you had, or?
There's a couple of them that are some pretty good kills in this. There's a great one with an axe where someone gets hit with an axe from behind in the head.
Yes.
That's really good. There's a great scene of someone getting like harpooned. That I love the way it just kind of comically kept going on. Something I love about this is how just the Abbie character is so happy when she finally gets to go out and go on her kills herself. She's so happy. It's like she just got a new car or got a new skateboard or something. She's just thrilled and is just skipping home. Then afterwards, like, you just murdered several people.
She's like Christian Bale when he's listening to Genesis and he has his fucking raincoat on and his fucking axe and he's just giddy as a motherfucker. Yeah. That was like her scene. That was her.
Yeah. She was so happy. I love that part. It was like, she had just, finally got asked to the dance or something and she was just skipping home. And, if this would have been a regular movie, that would have been the scene, like I said, she got asked to the dance and she's so happy. Oh, the boy asked me to the dance. No, I killed 2 people with an axe last night and I'm so happy about it. She was just so thrilled.
But, she got too close and things happened.
You can't get close to the people you're going to kill.
Yeah, the film does have a twist. We will not say. Actually, we did not say spoilers at the beginning.
We'll put it in the description, but these spoilers so far have been very mild. A lot of this you would pick up on the trailer, and even we didn't say like someone gets killed with an axe. We didn't say who.
That's very true, and we're not going to spoil the ending, but
yeah,
the ending definitely it makes it for me.
Yeah,
and
I would like to see more, so they left it a little open for that.
I love me a slasher overall, especially if it's done in a certain way. And this one, I like the overall like concept of it.
Yeah, it does remind me a little bit of Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
Fantastic
for that like world that goes on in there. And
yeah, and then you got the creep aspect because Abbie has a wolf mask and they're being taped. So that element, so I don't know if those are homages or just like, we're just going to do this. I don't know. To me, I feel like they're just so on the nose. They're not even trying to hide it.
Yeah.
Then it has to be like a nod to those things.
The only thing that I was kind of surprised they left out was like the gratuitous nudity of all the slasher movies of the 80s. I was kind of surprised they didn't have a scene of that, like not with the main characters, but like one of the characters where they were just, someone just said, the dad just said, now wait till they get naked or something like that. Would have been
because they're most vulnerable.
Yeah. Would have been kind of funny to see that in there. Like I said, I was a little surprised they didn't do that but maybe that seemed too obvious,
Maybe that was a takeaway, because there were, I feel, several opportunities where that could have been a thing, but it wasn't. So it's just like, okay. So yeah, I guess we got to keep, the director and writer of this film, Matthew John Lawrence. I got to add them to the list of like, okay, what's this guy gonna do next?
Yeah, because this is definitely he did another movie that I haven't seen called Uncle Peckerhead.
Yeah. Which the premise of that sounds insane.
Yeah, I have to look that one up too. The poster it reminds me a little bit of like the, what was that one, Deathgasm. It kind of reminds me like of that kind of style of artwork on the poster. So it'd be interesting to see. I have to check that one out. It might be on Shudder. I'm not sure. I think this one's going to go straight to Shudder by the look of it.
Yes, it's IFC Films and Shudder. I have to say that the soundtrack, it was so good. I really liked the music in the film.
Now, we didn't mention it earlier, but besides Jeffrey Dean Morgan also being in this, he's also a producer of it along with his wife. And also Mary Stuart Masterson is a producer on this, which is kind of odd. I didn't picture her to be the kind to be into producing horror movies.
Hey, she's like, you know what? I like it. So here you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, very interesting. I'm glad that, film was able to have, you know, such backing, and here we are. Film is out. Everyone should go check it out. Bloody Axe Wound.
It doesn't feel like it's a lower budget movie. It looks very, you know, there's a look to some of the lower budget movies that you see where they don't look like they were put on, it was out with a very low grade digital camera.
Yeah.
This looks very good. It's shot very well, and it's lit well too, which is what I appreciate. Like, so many horror movies are so dark when they're at night that you can't see what's going on at all. And that's okay for like maybe one shot, but then at some point you're just squinting at the screen going, I don't know what's happening. But you don't get that here. You are always able to keep track of what's going on, and I appreciate that.
I did also like the look of the film. Overall, like, it just looked like, right off the bat, probably, I don't know, maybe 30-ish minutes, I'm like, okay, this is set somewhere in the 90s, but then there were other things that kind of like happened along the film. I'm like, okay, now this is not in the 90s. This didn't exist at that time, so we're in another time frame. So I'm like, okay, this is just a world where whatever. And it just occurred to me that maybe just like in Leslie Vernon, how Jason and Michael Myers was like part of that, his world, and that was a real thing. This is the same thing. Clover Falls and these people are in that same world where it's just the norm. Like, this is just all, you know.
There's slashers all over the country doing this.
Exactly. And this is just one story. So I'm like, okay, then in that regard, I can take it, because you have the similarities between Friday the 13th, and you have Creep, you know, and the Leslie Vernon is just like, okay, this, I would accept it more if it's like, okay, it's in that same realm. Like, this is the same world. It's all happening in different areas, you know, at the same time. Because really, all those places are just one place. It's not like it's everywhere, you know. Jason's over there doing his thing, and, you know, Camp Crystal Lake. You got Leslie Vernon wherever the heck he's at, you know.
So it's just more a part of that whole slasher universe thing. They're all just part of it. Okay.
Yeah, that's how I'm gonna take this.
Now, I would definitely, in terms of a rating of this one, I would definitely give this one a, if it would answer my questions a little more about how this was being filmed, it'd be a 4.9 for it, but I'm going to say 3.5.
Ooh, 3.5?
Yeah, I enjoyed the hell of it. I liked it a lot.
Wow, I was going to say 2.5 because of, I wasn't say 3, but now 2.5 because of the whole, like, ambiguous, like, who is filming this? And not only who is filming this, no, this is gonna get like real, like, okay, not only is who filming this, but if there are certain people filming this, wouldn't the police know eventually who was doing this? Couldn't they track down some kind of digital imprint? You know, you see this shit in the fucking movies where they're like, oh, they know exactly where this was filmed, like down to the film, because where they bought the film or whatever, they have serial numbers, whatever the hell it is. There's a way to find out. And then not only that, the Reel to Reel, which is the name of the video store that is owned by the dad and she works at.
But it's REAL to REEL.
Yeah, it's classic. It's a classic name.
Real life to real video. Their logo, by the way, is eerily reminiscent of our logo.
Yes, it is, guys. It is. So wink. We were in the movie. In the video store, they're selling, like, not only the dads. I'm sorry, selling. They're renting. They're renting these films, and not only the films the dad's making, but also the films from other killers in the area. You know.
Yeah, and like I said, again, they never really explained how these movies are showing up and where, you know. They just, a box of them, the movies show up.
Yeah, who's the box coming from? Like, and then wouldn't the cops find out? Do the cops just not care at this point? Because they're just those, you know, sometimes you'll have like those made-for-TV movies or those like movies that are set in like a small county or whatever, where the cops are like whatever, they've given up on life.
They're
corrupt. Drinking all day. That's all they're doing. They can't possibly find a murderer. That's too much for them. They didn't, you know, they're not cut out for that. They're not going to do anything about it, kind of shit. Is that what we're living in?
I think that's the vibe you're living in there.
That's what's going on in Clover Falls and every other fucking place. And
in this area, Springwood, Camp Crystal Lake, they've all just given up.
So, okay, fine. I guess I could see it that, cops are tired. So they just gave up.
I mean, it is just a 9-to-5 job for them. So, they're, it's murders. We don't have time for that.
Well, thanks for spending Christmas Eve with us while we... Oh, what a festive slasher.
Yeah.
It was to me.
They did have a picture on the back of I forgot what the name it was, but there was a Christmas slasher poster hanging up at the video store.
Oh, it had a classic fucking name too. Damn.
Was it Mary Murder or something like that?
No, it was something even better than that. I don't know. I don't remember what it was, but it was like, okay, yes. Maybe like Mary Massacre. I don't know. Something insane. That you're like, I'm gonna watch this. Why isn't this real? Is this gonna be like the thing from like when you watch like Thanksgiving, like you wanted Thanksgiving to be a movie,
Oh yeah. Well, when you see that trailer, you're like, yeah, we got to do that.
Yeah, and then finally it's like, oh shit, that is a movie. We did not watch that for Thanksgiving. Now we're gonna go on a rant on holidays, holiday films. Thanksgiving the film. I feel like we should have revisited that.
Yeah, that'd probably been a good one.
Cranberry sauce. That's what
Blood
I'm
Rage.
reading. Blood Rage. that's the new name for me for the movie. You know how these movies sometimes have like 3 fucking names?
Yeah.
The other name
that
of
one
that
did,
movie
I think,
is
had an extra name as well. I don't know what it was called.
It was cranberry sauce. Christy, one of my favorite. I really like Christy. We've covered that film before.
Yeah, that's a good one. There's another one that it was directed by. We covered the movie he did, The Kindred, and then he did a Thanksgiving slasher one called The Dorm That Dripped Blood, which we have but haven't had a chance to watch yet.
Yeah, we started watching it and then we did not finish it. And hello, I'm late on this train. This is not a horror film though, but I am late on the train of The Violent Night.
Oh yeah,
that we just saw, and I love that film.
From the same guys who did Sonic the Hedgehog.
Also, that's also not a horror movie, but Sonic the Hedgehog 3 slaps. It's so good. Such a good film. Well, we got a little cozy by the fire.
Literally, we have a fire going on the screen.
We do. That's how we get fires in Florida. Well, for most of us, there's some of us that might have a fireplace, but for us, it's that LED fire log. It's nice and cozy. We wish you happy holidays and stay tuned to the horror.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.